Good evening. And Julia is back for more. Here in the morning, here in the afternoon. Hardcore. Very good. My internet is crap this afternoon. It worked a charm this morning, so we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be interesting. Good evening, everyone. Okay, give me one more minute to wait for any late person. I'm also going to mute you all by default if you want to speak. Remember, you just have to press the space bar if you're on a laptop. You're more than welcome to ask all the questions you have. So before we begin, remember that the main camera is the one where you can see me standing up, which I'm pointing at right now. That's the one you want to pin. That's the main one you want to look at anyway. And this is where I'm going to demonstrate everything. This is the laptop through which I'm going to watch you and try to correct you. So remember as well that I need this to hear you should you be a bit more talkative than last week. Okay? But all the instructions will be given there, and just like last week, I'll teach, show you, and then when it's your turn, have a look at this screen, and every 2 sets or so, give you more instructions to refine, depending on what I see. All right? Cool. So one more thing, a few things. I'm going to start now. First, the internet connection is absolutely crap this evening, and it was great this morning. It's the exact same. So at the very least, I'm hoping that we won't have an interruption. If we do, insist. I hope it will be good enough for me to see what you're doing. Yeah, it should be fine. Just some people frozen here and there, but I should be able to see what you're doing. Any question, feel free to ask them when I have the earphones. And one announcement for the people performing the homework. I'm going to send you an email, but I'm going to give you more time as well. So I was saying last week, send me the homework before Friday. This week I'm going to give you until Monday. So Monday week, I'll be reviewing the homework, allowing which is going to give me the opportunity to do that from the studio as well, and therefore show you more stuff if need be. Okay, let's begin. Let me set this up somewhere where I can see it. I'm going to try not to forget my camera. Remember that every 30 minutes it turns dark. If I do forget, I'm counting on you. Wave at the camera, and I will just remember. All good? Ready to go? Awesome. So, Julia, David, you were here this morning. You will excuse me for recycling the same warm-up. If I wanted to make my life very easy, I would do the exact same class morning and evening, but then I bore myself, and I can't. But maybe the warm-up I can maybe try to do the same, especially when I think that it works. So, we're going to start standing up. And again, this is the camera you want to be looking at. And we're going to start leaning against that wall that you have. And from this position, we're just going to take a few seconds to feel the points of contact between our body and that wall behind us. I want you to rest your bum, your upper back, and your skull against that wall. Your feet are nicely stuck together, and they would be somewhere around 1 foot away from that wall. Now, from that position, we naturally have an arch in the lower back, and if you were to bring your hands in your lower back, you would feel that. And what I want you to start doing is tilt the pelvis in and out, so that's what we call posterior tilt and an interior tilt, just isolating that bit, so that you remove the arch. If you were to keep that hand in your lumbars, your lower back, you would squish that hand against the wall, or on the contrary, create space for you to bring that arm. So I want us to just flatten the curve, flatten the natural arch, and wake up the spine and the small muscles around it, doing this motion here, while keeping our head on the wall and our body on the wall. Hands are relaxed, and just also pay attention to the tension that might happen in your knees, in your neck, in your whatnot, wherever, and try to release them, because we're basically just moving the pelvis in and out. Now, as we do that, we're going to start creating bigger and bigger wave, as in rolling up higher and higher on the spine. So right now, this is contained to the lower back. In your next wave, in your next tilt, I want you to go all the way to the mid-back. We're going slowly, and what matters now is for you, excuse me, to segment the spine as much as possible. So you want to roll and really feel all the segments taking off that wall, and same thing on the way back. You want to try to bring them one at a time on that wall and recreate the arch as you sit in that bottom position. And again, we tilt the pelvis, we remove the arch, we roll up, we go a bit higher between the mid-back and the upper back, and we come back down one segment at a time, and then we roll again. And again, a bit higher, this time all the way up to the upper back, and we roll, really use the feedback that the wall is giving you. Try to not skip any link in the chain, and again, find your natural arch. We go all the way up to the skull. We take off that upper back from the wall, and we really try gently to roll our way down. Just to perform that one last time, very slowly at your own pace. We roll up, take off, and down. And very gradually. we stand up, so knees straight, feet pretty much at the same distance from the wall. We're going to bring both hands up. And this evening, we are going to talk about shoulder flexion a lot, which is this motion here of opening the angle between your chest and your hands. So what I want you to do is to feel the 3 points of support again. Head, upper back, lower back, feet nicely squeezed together. We're going to bring our hands up. Straight elbows, shoulders to the ears, and try to touch that wall behind us without breaking. So our spine is as neutral as it can, and we're trying to open the shoulders so that we can touch the wall behind us while bringing the hands as high as possible. Right now, I'm not forcing you to tilt the pelvis in any way. I'm just asking you to feel the tension that naturally happens as we open the shoulders. We hold that for 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. We're going to do that again, but this time in the initial setup, we are going to tilt the pelvis in, so that's the posterior pelvic tilt for the nerds. We are removing the arch, knees straight again, exact same idea, and you don't want to compromise the position that you assumed, so you don't want to start arching back. Same thing, we try to open, the idea being to get it as close as possible to that wall, and if you can't, which is absolutely fine, just take note that we may have some mobility constraints around the shoulders around which we're going to work. So we keep the lower back on that wall. We extend both arms overhead. Elbows are straight. And we try to touch the wall with the top of our hands. And once we have reached the maximum, we make sure that the elbows are nice and straight. And we hold that for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Cool. Now, just for the crack, and we're going to talk about this a lot today as well, you have to realize that the position of your pelvis when you're upside down in space is closely correlated to what's happening in your shoulders. And by that, I mean the angle between your arm and your trunk. This thing of opening the shoulder is going to dictate where your bum is. And surprisingly, as we tilt the bum out or in, we're going to have a tendency to sacrifice that. Now remember, for most of us, unless you are hyperflexible, you want to be as open as you can. So if I am asking you to open as much as possible, and then as I'm asking you to change the pelvis positioning, you start to change the shoulder angle, we are in trouble. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go back against that wall one last time, extend both arms overhead, and from that position, we're going to go back to the rolling motion we were doing before, very slowly, but with an increased attention on your shoulders. And every time you reach the bottom position or the higher position, you want to pay attention to what your shoulders are feeling and make sure that they are extra open. We're going to do that at your own pace 5 times. Now you should feel your shoulders awaking. And Robert, if you can bring your feet together as well as everybody else, that would be amazing. Elbows are straight. And we are insisting on opening them shoulders despite your pelvis moving around. We do that 5 times. Slowly in a segmented way. Nice. Good job. Elbows straight, everyone. Cool. When we are done, we're going to face the wall belly towards the wall. I'm already trying to change things. We're going to bring both hands on that wall. The closer your feet to the wall and the easier the drill is. I want both elbows to be straight and to remain straight through the drill. And we're just going to pat the wall, changing where the fingers are looking. So we're doing this on the wall, trying to keep the elbows straight in the process, just waking up the wrists. And remembering that the more we can roll the hand from the fingertips down to the heel of the hands, and the more we will have, the more space we will have to feel what's happening in terms of weight transfer in our hands, which itself is at the essence of holding a handstand. Now we're going to keep doing this, but we're going to bring our feet a bit further away from that wall, which is going to increase the weight in your hands. Suddenly you're resting a bit more on your hands than before. And again, a bit further away. And you're going to feel your shoulders working a bit more than usual, way more than what we feel when we stay on all four. And one last time, if we can, we go even further away. And we keep patting like a cat. There's a name for that, actually. Forgot. Now we're going to walk our legs a bit closer so that if I was to hinge at the hips, I would have something that resembles a 90-degree angle between my belly and your legs. So you don't want to be too far and you don't want to be too close here. You want to find the position that makes it possible for you to go here. Now, I would suggest that everyone who is a bit tight around the hamstrings, you're going to bend your knees ever so slightly and stick your bum out, as if you were sitting on the box behind you. Now, if you have nice long hamstrings, which I don't have, then knees straight, okay? What I don't want to see is this. You rounding that lower back. We try to keep a flat back. Knees are straight. We're going to go chest in and try to bring this part of your body, the sternum, try to bring it towards that floor. And if you were to have a laser pointing out of your chest, that laser would be looking at the floor. Now we're going to try to go deeper, open the shoulders, and push against that wall to create some tension around the shoulders, not a passive stretch. We're actively pushing against that wall while getting a bit deeper, and push again and hold that for 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Break. Super. Let's do that again. When we're ready, one last time. So, the idea is not to go as far as we can. It's to stay within our limits, acknowledging that our shoulders are a bit more fragile than we may think. So, we want to take it one step at a time, but push actively against that wall to create further tension around the shoulders until they start gently shaking. Internet problem. Can you all hear me properly? Because I just had a message saying your internet is shite. We're good. Okay, thanks. Cool. We are going to go in our Cossack squat. You can keep your heel off the floor if that's hard enough. I want the toes of the foot of the extended leg facing up. And we're going to bounce here. But if that's okay, we're going to bring the heel down and bounce. And we're going to bounce 15 times each side. Good. We're going to stand back up and extend one leg in front of us with the toes facing up. So we're going to pull them toes towards our chest. Again, try to isolate what the pelvis is doing, and I want that bum to go out and that opposite leg to bend. So let me recap. I have one straight leg in front of me, the toes of that foot facing up, the opposite leg bent, and my bum out. I'm going to try to keep that bum out and feel how my hamstrings just kick in way earlier if I make sure that the bum goes out rather than rounding my back. And what I want you to do is to keep that back very flat as you sit your bum on an invisible box behind you and reach for the toes in the process. But don't make that the whole point. Don't round your back. I want the back to stay flat, and I want it to bounce 10 times. And you should feel your hamstrings really waking up in the process. Something dynamic. So it would go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We do that 15 times, and we swap. Again, you are sitting. So it's not this. Yeah? It's sitting back, sitting back, sitting back. And once you're done, you take a small break and you swap. Super. Nice. Fantastico. All right. When you're done, you can grab a sip of water, and we're going to jump straight into the main meal for today. So just like last week, I'm going to tell you the different progressions depending on whether you're a beginner or a bit more advanced or really more advanced. And then we're going to do that 2 sets, 3 sets. And I'm going to watch you, and then we stop, and I give you a few tips to make things better. So, yeah, let's try to hold 2 sets chest to the wall to begin with, just to finish the warm-up and to see where we are at today. Now, beginners, your mission is to hold something between 10 seconds and 25 seconds. Your mission, even more importantly, is for you to start feeling the noise of your body. And you want to reduce that noise with time. More so than duration, what matters to me is that you stop dancing and you start finding some form of stillness. And you start, dare I say, relaxing in your handstand, which I promise will happen down the line. So, we bring our hands as close as safe, and we hold that, shoulders over the first knuckles, for 10 to 20 seconds. Okay? Beginners, that's all. We're going to do that twice with enough rest in between sets. Non-beginners, and that's improvers, intermediates, advanced, we're going to walk all the way to one hand away from the wall, fully elevate, which I think is also what we did last week, and bring the sternum in, and, because we woke up with that, tilt the pelvis in. So posterior pelvic tilt, we're trying to flatten the whole line and not to arch like we would do for a frog or a straddle. No, we're trying to go the other side of the spectrum and hold that with full tension for 30 seconds. So it goes like this. I go way closer. Squeeze the feet together. Bum in. Sternum in. Your bum and your traps should be on fire. That's the cue. Ready? Twice. And now I can see you. So who's that? Keep the shoulders open, lian, despite the pelvic tilt, which is one of the subtle details we want to figure out. Good Jill. Good Mary. Good Donovan. Super. We take enough rest. And when we're ready, we go for a second set. Remember that every time we go chest to the wall, the lighter your feet are on that wall, and the closer you are to what a handstand will be eventually. So it's always, even if they're not that light just yet, the difference in lightness or heaviness from one rep to the other, from one set to the other, is going to inform the progress that you may not be able to feel otherwise. Let's go for one more rep. Fire tablet. Is that you, Owen? Fire tablet? I think it is. Good, Suzanne. Much better, actually, on this one. Good, Eva McDonald. Good job. Good, David. Okay, and we come back down. So, let me try to be super clear here, because surprisingly, I'm going to ask different people to do contradicting things. And they're contradicting because for one group, we're going to aim for this, and for the other group, we're going to aim for that, for a very specific reason. And I need you to pick the variation that suits what you need, not what you think you can do. Okay? So, let me start with beginners. Beginners, we're going to do my favorite drill, which is called the good dog, bad dog, in which I have everyone do until they can press, because it's the best drill. The good dog, bad dog teaches us to associate this motion, which is opening the shoulders, with this motion, which is sticking the bum out. And the reason for that being, the more we can open the shoulders, and the more our bum can align itself over the shoulders, which is the core of what a handstand is. We will see more about that in a matter of minutes when we kick up against the wall, but what I want you to do right now is to picture this laser pointing out of your chest, which I was referring to in the warm-up, and move your shoulders in such a way that that laser is facing the floor. And that was what this position, which I'm going to demonstrate, is what we're going to call the bad dog. From that position, we're going to open the shoulders, which itself is going to reorganize the rest of your body until your chest faces the wall. And the laser faces the wall, and we're going to call that the good dog. Now, as you're going to see, my whole body changes, and one line is way closer to what a handstand is than the other, but the only driver of that motion is my shoulder. And it's the hardest thing to understand about handstands, and at the same time, it's the most essential thing to understand about handstands. So, I'm going to set myself up not too close, and I'm going to start in a bad dog. Now, don't take bad too seriously here, but this is where most of us are right now. The shoulders are nicely sitting over the first knuckles, but my pelvis, you see, if you were to take away that wall behind me, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that I wouldn't be able to hold that. Now, without thinking about anything else and without changing the shoulders being sitting over my first knuckles, I'm going to picture that laser here and try to look at the wall with my pecs, with my chest. It's going to go whoop. And see what my pelvis does? It follows through and aligns itself over the shoulders. Now, what I advise you to do is to go for a baby bad dog, which is not there, but kind of here, and open the shoulders until your shoulders meet your ears, and until your sternum is facing that wall. That's heavy. So you're going to go for a round trip. Good dog, bad dog, good dog, done. Your mission is to feel what the shoulders are doing, because the more you can feel that, the easier handstands are going to become. As a matter of fact, non-beginners, the camera, see? I knew it. I'm very proud of myself because I'm getting good at this game. Non-beginners, regardless of your level, you're going to do the exact same thing with your feet very light, but you're going to do it 3 times. 3 times. Slowly. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. That's 1. 3 times. At the end of the 3 reps, this should be on fire. If not, then we talk. Is this clear? Vamos. Yeah. So beginners and non-beginners, it's neither too close nor too far on this one. Too far would make it harder. So it's about you playing a bit with the hand positioning so that it becomes easy for now, doable. Yeah. Super Henrique. David, you're a bit too far. If you could go a bit closer, it would help you. And that's it, Suzanne. That's exactly it here. If you had recorded the previous attempt and this one, you would see the big difference it makes. Suddenly your pelvis is where I need it to be, which is over the shoulders. Who is that? Jake, super. Good, Jill, much better as well. Julia. Much better, Suzanne. Even better this one as well. Super good, Sean. I only saw the very end, so I'm going to watch again on the next one. Sometimes I catch people at the very end of their attempt. So we do that once, we rest, it should be heavy, and then we do it again, and then we move on. Mary. Hey. Okay. Look, that's good that you say that to me because I answered your email just earlier. And so I'm going to send you another drill then on top of that that's going to make it easier for you to climb up and down. When I'm going to show it now, I'm going to show the gist of it now. Yeah, I'm going to do it now. So the, oh, sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Let's do it again. Okay, that's not good. That is not good. So it's all about using the toes more so than we thought, more so than we think we have to. And I almost want to say to you, what you want to be doing for a few days is just that. Hands on the floor, 1 foot on the wall, take off that foot. And feel that when you just have 1 foot resting on that wall, you have no choice but to push actively on the wall on that leg, with that leg. So what we tend to do when we're tired after holding ourselves up against the wall is forget about the legs. And suddenly our hands are bearing our weight on the way down, which is as hard as a handstand push-up, which is not the idea. So if I do this, this is super heavy, my knees are going to be bruised as well. I need to curl the toes, to bend the knees, and surprise, surprise, to stick that bum out again. So that, like a spider, you make your way down. It's all about finding efficiency in that kind of crawling, but this is predicated by you pushing on the legs. I know it's easy for me to say, but that's the basic idea. Yeah? So you may want to give this a try. Now, have a look, everyone. Then I will take your questions if you have. Beginners, this is the most important drill that you have to do every day or every week. Because this is what's going to dictate whether or not you're able to land consistently on the wall when you kick up against that wall. This is what's going to be, it's just, this is alignment for you. This is kicking up for you. And alignment and kicking up are like 75% of what a handstand is. And then you just add figure control on top of that, and you have your handstand. So it's easier to feel, although I know it's hard and heavy, it's easier to feel that chest to the wall than it is back to the wall. So you're going to do it one more time, and I'm quite happy with what I've seen. So I'm going to ask you to do that, 2 more sets, taking enough of a break in between. Now, non-beginners, why I'm asking you to do that? Because I saw that as you were performing the posterior pelvic tilt just earlier, you were sometimes doing that at the expense of your pelvis being over the shoulders in the first place. And that's not going to work. What I'm saying is that even if you're super straight and you'd like tucking the ribs in and tucking the pelvis in, but your bum is not over the shoulders, you don't have a handstand. And one more time, and it's not the first time you hearing me say that, I'm going to say it to you for the first time, bum over the shoulders is what matters. And I'd much rather your bum being like that, as long as it's over the shoulders, than being like Cirque du Soleil, but being all over the shop. So, look, it's kind of insidious because sometimes we think we have it, but we don't. Here, my bum is, I tilt my pelvis, but my bum is nowhere near it should be. How can I tell that? My feet are still heavy. And that's your cue. If your feet are still heavy, it's not so much that your hands are not close enough to that wall, it is that your pelvis is not where it should be. And in that case, you should do that good dog as well. You should even sit that bum this way for the sake of your feet becoming light. The pelvis is the cherry on that cake. Okay? Ranting. So, what I'm going to ask you non-beginners to perform is improvers. We go down, bad dog. We go up, good dog. We stop, we take off. And we try to hold the takeoff. We try to hold ourselves off the wall 3 to 10 seconds. If we don't have the space to bail, which is the case for some of us, we hold it with light feet against that wall. Don't take any risk, that would be stupid. If your feet are resting lightly on that wall, you're doing the job anyway, you're doing the work anyway. Advanced, should we call ourselves this way? You are going to work, I'm afraid, yes, on bad dog, advanced, you're going to take off. Bad dog, good dog. Touch the wall as little as possible. So I'm going to show improvers, advanced, improvers. We go. Bad dog, whoop, good dog, whoop, stop, take both feet off that wall. If hard, you can use one leg as well. Advanced, wah. 1, ha, good luck, advanced people. Yeah? Pa. Question? Vamos. You okay, Sean? Advanced, of course, you can use the wall a bit more than I did. Who is that? David, much better. Super stuff. Don't rush it now. That's it, Sean. Now stick that bum out and keep the shoulders where they are. Here we go. That's closer to your line. Good, Mora. Now elbow straight. Even straighter. Good, Henrique. Good, Mary. Super. From what I can see, it's clicking. Super. So more on this one, we try to fully extend the elbows. Lian, we do take off. of course. Who haven't I seen? Donovan, Aoife, Jake, I'm watching you. Good, Aoife, yeah. Keep piking until you take off. Nice stuff. Much better, much better. Here we go. Good, Mary. I'm gonna butcher your name, Sutton. That's good. Better, Jill. It's getting there. Super stuff. I'm gonna watch the last people going for their set, and then we move on. Nicely controlled, Donovan. I thought you were falling. Super. Aoife, Ryan, did we manage a full round trip? Bon. Of course you did. Fit together, Robert. Yeah. There we go. Cool. Okay, take a small break. Any question, or do I move on? Okay. Guys, I know it's hard. I know. This COVID thing sucks massively. And this is the least of our problem, but it also sucks in terms of, it's just, you know, classes. And handstands, I mean, it's not the easiest, but it's one of the most doable to keep your practice at home. Versus, I don't know what you're into, but lifting weights or dancing or horse riding. So thank you for bearing with this format. As I was saying to some of you, it has dawned upon me that 2021 is going to be a lot like that. So we better fall back on our feet and get used to that format, and therefore improve that as well. Which means I'm open to suggestions. Like, I have this big setup here, but I'm sure there's different ways that we could think about things to make things even better. Shoot me a message if you have any idea. Yeah? Because again, we are on that boat for a while. Now, beginners, great job. And I don't want to exhaust you, but I want you to do this drill once or twice before we move back to the wall. And non-beginners, I'm going to ask you to pike a bit more / to straddle with the same quality and to change the angle in your shoulders. Beginners, remember that learning handstands is about you knowing what to pay attention to and knowing when you're doing things wrong more so than doing everything right, which won't happen anyway for a while. How do we do that? We pay attention to the things that matter. And as we just said, well, the tilt of the pelvis doesn't matter as much as you aligning that pelvis over the shoulders. And I want you to feel that for yourself always, rather than to take my word for granted. Because that's the way I teach. I want you to question everything I say, and I want you to reframe everything I say in such a way that it makes more sense for you. So we're going to set ourselves up one last time, chest to the wall. And we're going to pay attention to how light the foot that stays on the wall is. That's the main point of this drill. So we're going to go chest to the wall, extend one leg out. Very slowly go in a bad dog and feel the weight of the foot that stayed on the wall. Very slowly go in a good dog, which is opening the shoulders, and feel the weight of the foot that stayed on the wall. And you should, might feel something. And that's what matters to me. Put your own words on it and see how you doing this changes how heavy or light whatever stays on that wall is. And it has little to do with what you're doing with your legs. So just to show you, but not biasing you into any framing, what am I saying? Chest to the wall, one leg off. Not there now. Here, I'm going to sag my hips by closing the shoulders. Pay attention to this foot. And then gradually trying to stick that bum out by opening the shoulders. Pay attention to this foot. You do that once, take your break, twice, take your break, and do it as slow as possible for you to start connecting the dots. Okay? Non-beginners, you're gonna frog or straddle if you don't have the time, if you don't have the space, you pike with the legs scissor this way. Yeah, so I want to see this shape, or this shape, depending on how much space you have and your preferences. We're gonna take off that wall, and that's enough for the improvers. We're gonna take off that wall, but hold that 10 to 15 seconds. It should be doable, and if not, that's your goal. At first, we take off, we fall. Once we are at that level, we want to be able to take off and ping pong on the wall. And soon enough, once you can do that, you want to be able to hold that 15 seconds and merely touch that wall, It's super important that you have this clear. Taking off is not enough anymore. Taking off and refusing the fall is what you're after. So improvers, this is what I want to see. I'm going to show you, maybe not the straddle because I don't have with the painting the space, but frog, take off. If I do have to touch that wall, I can count. How many lives in my video games did I have to use to succeed? If I don't have space, then it's this one, not this one. The pike, the bum goes out, the shoulders are open. I refuse the fall. And if I refuse too much, I will fall back on the wall. That's fine. I take off again, and I try, just like Super Mario, to do that with 3 lives. All right? And to hold the whole thing with only 3 lives for 15 seconds. Advanced, you're going to take off. 15 seconds is not a bother for you. You're going to take off in the frog, the straddle, or the pike, and in that position of that wall, close and open the shoulders. Now, because we have the wall, we should be able to do that a bit more. We should be able to go a bit lower than fully freestanding. And we really insist on the good dog. That's your press. Blossoming. Okay? Oh, you're already up. I talk too much. Vamos. Don't lose your nothing. You okay, Leanne? You look tired. I can hear your voice. It's been like 1.5 years. I can still hear that. Cool, okay. Now it needs 15 seconds, 10 seconds of that wall. Yeah, fight for it. Good, super. Good, Julia. Better, David. Good, Marie. Yes, super. Excellent job. Nice progress. Good, Jake. Good, Suzanne, super. Excellent stuff. See how weightless that foot is on that wall? Off that wall, for that matter. It's all about your pelvis. Nice. Whoop. We do that twice, 3 times maybe, and then we take a break. Of course, if you have more juice in the tank, you're more than welcome to follow this class with another hour of training. Hi. Yeah, I forgot there was a class after. Cool. All right, finish your set. If you have any questions, shoot them now. Otherwise, I'm gonna elaborate a few things, and then we move on to actually kicking up against that wall. Okay. Waiting for Jay. Good. Super. Cool. All good, guys? This is the new thing, guys. If I see that, I know we're good. All right. Look. Just so we're clear, and that's going to go a bit in the nitty-gritty of things, but I want maybe to start laying the foundations for that so that it starts becoming clear. In the warm-up, we were doing this thing, trying to keep the lower back on the wall and opening the shoulders. And some of you couldn't touch that wall with your hands. And that informs you that for the sake of handstands, we may have some shoulder restriction, which is fine because by the sheer practice of handstands, you will start improving that. However, that also tells you that for the piked variation, you will have to shoot your bum really out to be able to take off. What does that mean? If you find yourself having to push on your feet to take off, this is the culprit. This is why. And instead of pushing on that wall to take off, which is not going to transfer well in freestanding practice, I want you to refrain from doing that and start working on your alignment better. What I'm saying is that this doesn't work. So I'm going to take this example here, and let's say I'm constrained in my shoulders. Well, moving them legs here, not going to cut it. I need to be able to tap in that range of motion to take off, but it's not, if it's not there yet, it's not there yet. In which case, I'm way better off regressing to this shape and take off, rather than forcing this and cheating. Okay? Now, moving on, beginners, we're gonna kick up against that wall again. And remember, as long as we cannot land on that wall consistently, we have to keep at it. We have to keep trying to touch that wall, even if we have to bend the swinging leg, which is the back leg. So beginners, one more time, I want you to bring your hands on the floor already. It should be like one hand away or 1 foot away from that wall. We're gonna swing a leg, push on the other leg, and I want you to bend the first leg for the sake of touching that wall consistently. Something like that. And once you can consistently touch that wall with the bent leg, you'll be able to consistently soon land against it with the straight leg. Now, what matters for me today is for you to start feeling what the shoulders are doing. And we spend 30 minutes doing that. So you should be primed in feeling that. So I want you to feel that the third element of a kick-up, the third thing that happens once you have swung the back leg and pushed on the front leg, is that the shoulders are doing this. And the more you can think about that and actively do it, and the better. So look at this, pam, pam, pam. Here, I open the shoulders. At the end of my kick-up, again, this thing, this laser, is facing away, the other wall. And I need you to just start to feel that. And probably you will get closer to the wall than last week, just because of all the work we just did. So go for it. 3 reps, break. 3 reps, break. Non-beginners, improvers, I want you to float off that wall in either a frog or a pike for 15 seconds. This is a new landmark. I'm going to be strict with you for once. This is what you need to shoot for, and nothing less. So you kick up against that wall. Again, you have 3 lives, Super Mario. You can only touch that wall 3 times to accumulate 15 seconds. If you touch it a fourth time, come back down, you have to try again. All right? So it goes 1, I touch it once, I take off, and I fight for it for 15 seconds that you count in your head. You can only touch that wall 3 times. Or if you want to make your laugh harder, twice or once. Non-beginners, advanced, you're freestanding already. I want you to go frog, straddle, frog, and tuck. Just because we don't freestand as much these days. So frog, straddle, frog, and tuck. And from here, we're gonna tuck them. Or something like that. Okay? Vamos. Last drill, but a few reps. So Eva McDonald, I'm counting on you, 15 seconds. We have that. Yes, super. Okay, good. Liane, maybe your hands are a bit far, and that's why. Jake, I need your bum to shoot towards that. Remember the laser. It needs to be facing that wall behind you. I need your shoulders to open. Yeah, better. Who's that? Sean, super. Now, Sean, I would advise you, remember that having the legs scissored, as unnatural as it is, which is not fit together, is going to be easier down the line. So it's okay to bring them together, but for the sake of maximizing success rate, I would advise you to find that angle that suits you, which may take a bit of work. Maybe that would be your mission for this week. And I received your homework today, so I'm going to review it later down this week. But maybe the goal for you would be to find out if this suits you, a big Y suits you, or maybe fit very close together, but not together. Nicely saved, Donovan. Okay, let's try that again. That mighty Pike. Very good, Henrique. I'm very happy, like you haven't lost as much as you told me you would. That's great. Better, Owen, take your time. That right foot here is still too active, Owen. It is pushing on that wall to make you take off. And you cannot allow that to happen for the reason I just mentioned. Yeah? Okay. Good, Jill. Think about your shoulders. Good, Jake. Oscar, good. One more. It's always harder from this angle. Shoot your bum out, David. Don't mind that, it's the other class starting now. Julia. Always pick the shape when you're going for consistency and balance. That was better, Jill. Always pick the shape that maximizes your success rate, even if it doesn't make sense. In that case, it makes sense, but I would say if the frog suits you better, for the reason you just mentioned, stick with it. Oh. Nice, guys. Okay, one last rep. If you have questions, now is the moment. I hope everything is crystal clear.
Good to have you. Hey, how are you doing? Good. Amor, how are you? Excellent. Until when are you on holidays, Amor?
Robert.
Oh, very good. Very good. Amor got married last week, everybody. And
Can you repeat, please?
Amor got married last week. Yeah.
Okay.
And
The thing is, you can, like when we have imbalances, it's very hard to compensate for that, for them actively. It would only be like a short-term fix. But if you have that imbalance in the first place, most likely there's something deeper. Your body is compensating for a reason and putting more weight on one arm than the other, avoiding the left arm for that matter. So this is more for me usually an invitation that I give you to explore further with somebody who knows what they're talking about, why you have that compensation in the first place. But actively, you know, like let's say I always rest on the right side of my body, on my right leg. Actively thinking about balancing it out with the left leg is only going to fix it as long as I can think about it. But every time I go back to default, I will go back on my right leg. And that's because like there's many reasons behind that. It can be trauma, it can be so many things. And usually it's a rabbit hole down the exploration of why your body is the way it is. But it's always a good invitation for you to do it. So when you're doing handstands, if you find that it's a bit strenuous on the right wrist, yes, you can actively switch the weight from one hand to the other, but it won't fix it long term, ever. Okay? Sorry.
good. How was your day?
All right, people. Yes? No, because the chair is actually, it's going to actually hinder your capacity to generate momentum. There is a point in, and we will cover that maybe next week, there is a point in isolating the back leg and swinging harder with it for the sake of feeling what it can do, and then isolating the front leg, and same idea, overusing it for the sake of using it better down the line, and then overusing the shoulder. So the three elements, the three tools that we have for a kick up. But pushing from an elevated surface doesn't help, no. However, inquiring over ways to hijack or to boost that process, absolutely the right mindset. And maybe you can prove me wrong. If you feel that kicking up from your bed actually would make sense, try it as long as it's safe, yes. But from my experience, kicking up from a chair doesn't help because we cannot push as much on the front leg. Cool. Yes, Aoife? You did, and your review is on the platform. Yeah. Okay. And starting next week, I will actually note down the drills I want you to perform on top, and not just say it. Boom. All good, guys? Jill, fire.